Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. We begin with some breaking news out of California. At least 7 people are dead and 1 critically injured after a mass shooting occurred in Half Moon Bay, California, just outside of San Francisco. 67-year-old Chun-Li Zhao was being taken away in handcuffs this afternoon. Here is video. Shortly after, authorities say he shot and killed more than a half a dozen people in 2 different locations. One shooting happened at a mushroom farm, another near a trucking facility about 2 miles away. According to the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office, the suspect drove himself to a police substation located between the 2 businesses and surrendered to deputies.
It's a tragedy that we hear about far too often, but today it's hit home here in San Mateo County.
Authorities later confirmed they believe the weapon, a semi-automatic rifle, was the only weapon used in the shootings, but they could not confirm whether it was obtained legally. No word tonight on a possible motive. This is a developing story. We will bring you more details just as soon as we learn them. And this comes less than 48 hours after another mass shooting in California. Today, another victim of Saturday night's Monterey Park shooting has died, bringing the death toll in that case to 11.
Several pieces of evidence were found inside the van, linking the suspect to both locations.
The LA County Sheriff identified the suspect as 72-year-old Trent Avenue. Authorities say about half an hour after the first shooting, he entered another dance hall 3 miles away. A man working there says he wrestled the gun away from the suspect, who then fled in a white van. Law enforcement eventually tracked down the van, and the sheriff says the suspect took his own life as a SWAT team moved in. Well, in other news this evening, it has been 4 months since the Trent Avenue homeless shelter first opened its doors. The city is leasing the building for roughly $30,000 a month. But tonight, City Council took its first step at buying the building. KREM 2 Kyle Simchuk tells us why.
The resolution passed tonight is non-binding, but Council will send developer Larry Stone a letter letting him know the city does intend to buy the building. It's a move Mayor Nadine Woodward does not support.
Right now, the city of Spokane is spending roughly $1,000 a day to lease the Trent shelter. When the city entered a lease with Spokane developer Larry Stone this summer, they negotiated an option to purchase the property, but that option expires at the end of the month.
It makes clear sense that if we're going to have this for longer than a year, that we should be purchasing it.
In a 5-2 vote tonight, council members passed a resolution. The city and Mr. Stone will have to agree on an independent appraiser to get a market value and then agree on a sales price within 15 days, according to Council President Brian Beggs.
I'm going to oppose this because I just don't think that we're in a situation where we know that this has a long-term sustainable future at this point in time.
Mayor Nadine Woodward is also opposed to buying the building. Instead, she wants to invest in building permanent bathrooms, a kitchen, and a laundry facility.
Right now, what happens is those services are largely contracted, so that incurs a monthly fee expense, and some of those expenses are quite high. The belief is that it'll pay itself back in a matter of months rather than years.
It just seems challenging to invest the money in bathrooms for someone else to reap the value of it. So I think if we are going to keep this for more than a few months, which I'm assuming we are, we should buy the building.
KREM 2 was unable to reach Stone for comment tonight. In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
The point-in-time count is critical to ending homelessness here in Spokane County and ensuring that homelessness is rare, brief, and non-recurring.
Looking ahead, the Spokane County point-in-time count starts this Wednesday. Its purpose? Paint an accurate picture of Spokane's homeless population. The point-in-time count first began back in 2009 as a way to generate homeless services funds. Well, now it helps the city learn more about who's homeless, why they're homeless, and what barriers they may face. Well, new tonight, we now know that Spokane police are investigating 3 violent assaults that all happened within hours of each other yesterday. In a press conference from SPD yesterday at around 4 p.m., officers responded to a stabbing near West Main and Lincoln. Shortly after, they arrested a suspect who was charged with 2 counts of first-degree assault. No less than 2 hours later, another stabbing happened near West Pacific and State Street, once again arresting another suspect who was charged with first-degree assault. Finally, at around 7 p.m., a drive-by shooting happened near West 4th and Maple, leaving 1 victim with non-life-threatening injuries. Meanwhile, the suspect in that shooting has not yet been found. All 3 victims were taken to local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. And now to our night beat with a quick look. Today's top stories. In a developing story, the man suspected of shooting and killing a woman in Douglas County made his first court appearance. Witnesses said they saw the woman fall out of a vehicle on Badger Mountain Road. After the car stopped, a man identified as Dalton Potter allegedly got out and shot the woman and then shot at the witness's car. Potter has been charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. Earlier today, a Spokane woman arrested during a protest turned violent in downtown Atlanta appeared in a Georgia courtroom to face charges of domestic terrorism. 22-year-old Madeline Fiola was denied bond for her part in the protest. On Saturday, masked activists dressed in all black threw rocks and lit fireworks in front of a skyscraper that houses the Atlanta Police Foundation. A police cruiser was also set on fire. The protests were sparked after a state trooper shot and killed an environmental activist in Georgia. Authorities say the trooper fired in self-defense. An update tonight after last week's reservoir failure in Lewiston. A boil order will remain in effect as crews are still working to make repairs. In order to fix the problem, city leaders say they have to make sure it won't put too much stress on other parts of the water system. Right now, they are working with the Department of Environmental Quality to try to come up with creative solutions. And that was your night beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. All right, switching gears to talk weather. It is looking like a mostly cold and dry week ahead. Meteorologist Michelle Boss in the studio tonight. And Michelle, what are we looking at weather-wise?
Pretty quiet weather for the next several days, just like you described. We have the potential to see some big changes for the weekend, which could bring us snow and potentially some much chillier temperatures, even though highs today in the lower 30s were already cold. As we take a look at satellite and radar, we don't have a lot of precipitation to report. This is first visibility. Not a lot of fog to report either, though we do have a lot of low clouds around the area. Somewhat reduced visibility at the Spokane airport at 6 miles in the Tri-Cities, but not seeing any dense fog at the 10 o'clock hour. But we do have plenty of low cloud cover out there, so gray skies nonetheless. Current temperatures are in the 20s and 30s, 31 right now in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, but a little bit chillier in Moses Lake, 26 degrees, also 26 in Pullman and Moscow. Quiet weather for the rest of the overnight hours. We'll see temperatures bottoming out in the middle and upper 20s, and another pretty chilly day tomorrow with highs right around freezing. Mostly cloudy skies for Wednesday and Thursday as well. But again, next chance of snow comes in Friday and Saturday.
Sounds good, Michelle. Thank you very much. Well, the FDA says it wants to simplify how Americans stay up to date on COVID-19 booster vaccinations. The agency wants the process to be more like getting a flu shot, and that would mean assessing what COVID variants are circulating in June and then prepare a dose for the fall. Well, the FDA says the plan is to create a single annual shot to bolster immunity for most people, but those with certain risk factors might need 2. The FDA's Vaccine Advisory Committee is set to meet on Thursday to discuss the plan. The Washington State Attorney General's office has received just over $9 million stolen by fraud rings during the pandemic from the Employment Security Department. A judge ordered Bank of America to return $9.3 million fraudsters deposited in Bank of America accounts. Using forfeiture laws, the AG's office says it's recovered close to $34 million. Well, if you are on Idaho State Medicaid, you might want to listen closely tonight. Starting in April, Health and Welfare will begin removing roughly 60,000 Idahoans from Medicaid coverage as they no longer qualify under Medicaid protection. It was put into place at the start of the pandemic and allowed Idahoans to stay on Medicaid even if they no longer qualified. But that is coming to an end on April 1st. Those notices will start going out on February 1st. Well, this week, Boeing executives will face a federal judge, the company facing a federal felony charge for its role in the crashes of 2 737 MAX jets that killed 346 people. The news comes just as the company signed a major development deal with NASA. Contracts with the government bring in billions of dollars for the company per year. Industry experts say a criminal charge could change that.
The real danger to Boeing of being convicted in a criminal case, I believe, has to do with it would be disqualified from Pentagon or government contracts.
The ruling by a judge in Texas came after the relatives of some of the victims said the government violated their rights by reaching a settlement with Boeing without first notifying families. A U.S. district court ordered Boeing to send a representative to court on Thursday. A Boeing spokesperson told our sister station in Seattle the company has no comment on the ongoing litigation. The judge's ruling is a narrow one that does not guarantee Boeing will face prosecution, though lawyers for some of the surviving family members say that is their goal. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. The suspect in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students wanted to work for the Pullman Police Department. Coming up, what we know about his one-on-one interview with the police chief months before the murders. A man accused of killing someone for practice appeared in court today. Why the victim's family is speaking out tonight. We're back in just 90 seconds.